Hello, people. It's Wednesday, the 21st of June. Welcome to TDA, the day after, your favorite news platform and the home of popular culture, as defined by the culture. And of course, we have a lit show today. Brent, can you? Oh, Superman. All right.
You have to turn it on, man.
All right, we're having technical difficulties.
Okay. Cheers.
All right, yeah, welcome, people. Can everyone introduce themselves, please?
They call me E-Man, the pro-black activist, TDA producer and news analyst, melanin jam-packed.
And I am, of course, Big Man Used. I'll be taking over hosting duties today. Esther will not be with us, and Margs may be with us. We shall see. We shall see.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, how's everyone doing?
All good.
Man.
All good.
All good?
Yes, all good.
I know it's Wednesday today, and we've got we're under time constraints, so
100%.
we might as well just get straight into it. Question of the day. What is your favorite thing to do to connect with nature? Brent, talk to me. Do you connect with nature? Do you care about nature? Are you a naturalist? Is that a word?
Naturist. I don't know if it is
Naturist,
that I am outside of sometimes just walking down by the football pitch and coming back.
Okay.
That's only when it is I feel as though I need to walk in the morning.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I know if I'm not going to the gym, then that walk, that fresh air,
Yeah.
I think that will, that's the
That's
only
you.
me connected to nature stuff. Other than that, if I go to like the countryside, that's a concerted effort to connect to nature.
Yeah.
I don't think I'm doing that to go and connect to nature, to be honest.
Oh, okay. I think I'm the same, yeah. I go on walks from time to time, but I don't do it to connect with nature. I just do it to be outside and fresh air and just, clear my head. It's not really a nature thing for me. What about you, man?
You know, like going on walks, yeah? Do you kind of have a place in mind where you're going to walk to and then back? Or is it more so like, let me just walk?
Anyway.
Yeah.
No, I have a destination most times.
Okay.
But I always, coincidentally, I kind of always live near water. So I just walk along the riverbank, riversides, whatever.
Okay.
Those are normally my routes.
What would you just go wherever your legs take you, man? Is that what you're asking?
Yeah, pretty much. Because, like, me personally, if I'm walking somewhere, it's maybe because I want to get something somewhere, you know what I'm saying? Or maybe I say to myself, I maybe I want to get some steps in, so I might as well go to this particular place, you know what I'm saying? As opposed to just leaving and then just after a certain amount of time making my way back. You know what I'm saying? So that's why I'm kind of asking.
Do you get steps in?
Yeah, about 10,000.
Like every day?
Yeah. Roughly, yeah.
It says it's an intent for you to basically...
No, it's not. It's only like... I just recognize that with my daily routine and stuff, I get about 10,000.
Ah, okay.
Yeah. But I thought one time I thought to myself, like basically I was at work and I thought, you know what, let me go to the Caribbean shopping to get something. And then I realized after doing that, just adding that in, I got like 12,000 in it. And I thought, you know what, I'm hearing that this is obviously like a certain goal that people are trying to go for, innit? I just thought, okay, so this is what obviously people sometimes do, I guess, innit?
What do you get in the Caribbean shop? What do you get in the Caribbean shop?
Some callaloo and dumpling or something else, so yeah.
You know what callaloo? What do you know about callaloo?
Yeah, I love callaloo, man. Yeah.
Callaloo's lovely, man.
It really is. It really is.
I'm guessing this is Jamaican takeaway.
Yeah. But wait, isn't every... Okay, obviously I'm going to show my ignorance here. But isn't every Caribbean shop like Jamaican?
No.
No?
No.
When have you gone to something else?
When I've gone to a Trinidad one.
There ain't no Trinidad in the Caribbean shops.
Of course there is.
Where?
There was one in Leighton.
This is not true.
There was one in Leighton.
For real?
Yes.
Okay.
What's the main difference?
I think the food and the people serving you.
Okay. I don't really differentiate or know the difference. I just put it under the umbrella of Caribbean.
Can you get roti from a Jamaican takeaway shop, Emmanuel? Do they normally sell roti?
I'm not too sure, you know.
I don't think they normally sell roti. And if they do, it's a fusion thing.
Guess you're right.
Just because I'm from Trinidad and I've said it.
No, because I've never... Because obviously, like, when I look at the menu, I look for, like, stuff that's vegan-friendly and stuff, innit? So I'm basically having to look through everything. And I don't think I've seen roti.
Okay.
Not at a place I go to, anyway.
I don't normally see it in a Jamaican takeaway shop.
Interesting.
Big up the roti. Big up the roti. All right, cool. I guess that's the question of the day. Let's get into our first set of headlines, please.
Adam Smith, there is no second guessing or doubting that doubles are better than Jamaican patties, my friend. Yeah, the person asks doubles or Jamaican patties.
What's doubles?
Doubles is, I think I put it up the other day. Let me show you.
It's like a form of patty.
It's not.
Okay.
No. And it's obviously Indian based.
It's not a form of patty, then why the comparison?
I think he's just asking me what do I prefer.
And I think they're both like what street food, innit?
But they have to be similar for it to be a comparable thing, no?
No, it's just like asking me what food do I prefer, rice and peas or a roti. I'll be like, roti.
No, I wouldn't ask someone what they prefer out of two foods that have no actual relation.
Maybe he's saying, all right, this is good for Jamaican culture and it's good for Trinidad culture. Which one do you prefer to eat? I think that's to answer that question.
No, but I think he's obviously you have to.
Hold on,
I'm not Caribbean in it, but like I think he's talking about just in terms of food that you can eat on the go, innit? Like holding your hand and just kind of eat.
I think that can be compared to a patty. It's pastry filled with meat or whatever that is.
Oh, you're saying that for him, he thinks it looks like a patty.
Not looks like it's the same structure of a patty. It's dough, whatever that is on
But
top,
if I
filled
make
with
a sandwich, you
filled
could
with meat.
compare it, right? Because there are two babs and then there's filling.
No, you know what you're doing. It's not the same as a sandwich. Bro.
But this doesn't look like a patty to me.
It's not about what it looks like. It's about what it consists of. It consists of pastry with meat inside.
When you say pastry, you're talking about the thing that you use flour to make something, right? That's why I said sandwich.
Yeah, but I wouldn't compare. I don't think anyone will compare a sandwich to a patty. It's not the same. One's cold, one's hot.
I know they're not the same, but I can still answer that question. If somebody asks me, would I prefer a sandwich or a patty? I'm like, what's the filling saying for the sandwich?
Yeah, no, okay, cool, no. Okay, cool. A sandwich and a patty is not too far apart. They can definitely be compared in some capacity, but I reckon he's asking about doubles and patties because they are kind of in the same meat filling, pastry kind of family.
Maybe.
You know what I mean?
But this is vegan. Man could eat this. Yeah, man could eat this. And a man will enjoy eating this. Yeah. I said I mentioned this last week that Daddy's bringing back some doubles from Trinidad because my auntie's packing it for me. I'm gonna let you guys taste it so you know that this is the shite.
Okay.
Yeah. If I were to become a vegan, this is what I could live on.
Yeah. Okay.
And you got your chickpeas there, so you got your proteins.
Are you gonna call your dad daddy forever?
Daddy.
Yeah.
You're saying daddy, and I'm not saying daddy. I'm saying daddy.
Huh?
That's how I speak, daddy.
Daddy.
Like, I say mummy.
No, but you're still saying the word daddy.
But it sounds different when you say it, daddy.
Only reason I'm asking because I made a conscious decision at a certain age to stop saying daddy and start saying dad.
Yeah.
Even though I said daddy I said daddy probably for longer than I should have.
Yeah.
And mummy. But I just felt like, you know what? I feel like I'm too old to say daddy and mummy. Let me just cut the extra meat off and just go with mum and dad. But you still say daddy now.
Mum and dad sounds very British to me.
Exactly.
You don't do that in Trinidad.
That's what I thought. But I had to just fight through that feeling.
Yeah.
Because mummy and daddy sounds more African, more traditional, more black. Mum and dad.
This is why I've kept it.
Mum and dad always sounded white to me.
Yeah, that's why I've kept it on my tongue.
I even like saying gran. Gran to me is white. I don't say gran.
When he said nan the other day.
Yeah, nan is white.
I was
No
shocked.
offense to white people.
I said gran.
Are you sure you said gran?
Yeah, I never said nan.
I'm still shocked at that, to be honest.
Yeah, gran, nan. That's.
I'd say
white.
grandmother.
Yeah. But daddy, mummy, it just sounds childish.
I don't mind. Like I said, it's my culture that I've kept.
Yeah, no. I'm with you on that.
Yeah.
I just was asking.
You could do it.
Huh?
You couldn't do it.
I couldn't do it now. Like, even when I'm typing, like, you know what I mean, daddy's like that. Just write dad.
Yeah, I don't mind.
Yeah.
Yeah, but this is the lick. And it's Indian. Well, it's Indian based, obviously, because, as you know, Indians and Trinidad, but we perfected it over there.
You say, as we know, there are.
Yeah.
Oh, I didn't know there was.
Yeah, West Indies and that.
Oh.
As you thought you found India, innit?
What's
West
that?
of India. Columbus.
I didn't know. I don't even know the history why it's called West Indies.
Oh, okay.
Okay.
But Brent,
Yeah.
like when you factor in the influence of the Indians, right?
Yes.
How? Again, this might be a very silly question, innit? But like,
That's right. Go on.
but like, do you feel like Caribbean culture, or maybe it may be specific to certain countries within the Caribbean, right? But do you feel like without the Indian influence, it would be completely different?
Yeah, it would, obviously.
So is Caribbean culture, can one say it's also Indian culture?
Yes, but I told you before that the Indians in Trinidad, I don't know about the rest of the West Indies, they don't consider themselves or attach themselves to in East India.
Okay.
You know?
Anymore?
At all, whatsoever. They will still move as though they're better than blacks, though. But nah, they don't. They'll say, nah, I'm West Indian. I'm Trinidadian. And they get vexed, real vexed.
So it's not like the Chinese and Jamaican stuff?
I don't know what's the...
Okay.
What?
Because you know,
what's the thing?
like the Chinese people in Jamaica, right? You've been there like a few generations, right? And they speak like Jamaican people and all that type of stuff, right? Obviously, the Jamaicans in the chat may have to correct me and whatnot. But I don't think they see themselves as Chinese. You know what I'm saying? They marry Jamaican women, have kids with them and that. You know what I'm saying?
So they will say, I'm Jamaican.
Yeah.
But they will still know that they're different than the others.
100%. Yeah, yeah, 100%. But I feel like, isn't that similar with the Indians in Trinidad? They know they're different to all the black people there. Like you said, they even treat the black people different.
Yeah.
But they don't see themselves like Indians.
Yeah, 100%. And this only happens when it is that they, like, I don't know, travel to another, like, Western country, or a Western country, full stop. And then they link up with people that look like them, but then the white people look at them and think that they're the same, and they're like, no, I'm Trinidadian. Don't do that. Don't do that. So it's a shame thing. Yeah, which I find really interesting. Maybe it's I guess it's kind of tantamount maybe to black people distancing themselves from African people. Like West Indian people or black British people, they were like, no, I'm African. I don't know. Maybe. When they're accused of being descendants of said people from said land, they were like, no, sorry, don't do that. Yeah. I don't know. Maybe it's not parallel, but I guess maybe whatever's wavier, lean into that.
Okay.
And we know definitely what is wavier.
Between what? Between Africans and Caribbeans?
No, between the Indians in West Indies and Indians in India.
Okay.
Yeah, they think that the ones that are kissed by the Caribbean sun are wavier and are more cultured, more dope cultured than the ones back in India.
Do you agree?
To be honest, I don't speak on other people.
Okay. Sure.
There you go.
Sure you don't, mate.
All right.
You don't.
So we're on the headlines now. Right? First headline. It's an update on a previous done-out candidate, man. And this is Hunter Biden, who is US President Joe Biden's son. And he's expected to plead guilty to 2 misdemeanor tax crimes and admit to illegally possessing a gun while a drug user after a 5-year investigation. The US attorney in Delaware has filed papers indicating a plea agreement has been reached. The terms of the agreement are likely to keep him out of jail. No one expected any different, I don't think. But top Republicans have called it evidence of a 2-tiered system of justice. In theory, the president's son still faces a maximum penalty of 1 year in prison on each of the tax charges and 10 years in prison on the gun charge. He's expected to agree to drug treatment and monitoring as part of the proposed deal. And the final deal will need to be approved by the judge in the case, who will also determine his sentence. It's unclear when Hunter Biden will appear in court to enter his guilty plea on the tax charges. Next headline. The senior Tory MP, Tobias Elwood, has come out and said that Shaun Bailey, if you guys remember, Shaun Bailey is the black Conservative MP who was trying to be the mayor of London, right? He's basically said that he should consider declining his peerage over a lockdown party for staff on his failed London mayoral bid. Guests were invited to the Jingle and Mingle at the 2020 Christmas gathering at a time when indoor social events were banned. And Mr. Bailey is set to become a lifetime member of the Lords after Boris Johnson's nominated him for a peerage. He has said it was for others to decide whether he takes his seat. but asked on BBC Radio 4's Today programme whether Mr. Bailey should consider his position, Mr. Elwood came out, like I said, and replied, absolutely, he needs to consider that, if we're being frank. There are big questions there. I don't think I can answer those now. But it comes after a video was published by The Mirror over the weekend showing staff on Mr. Bailey's campaign team drinking and dancing at the event in Tory headquarters in London. In the footage, one person's heard saying it's okay to film as long as we don't stream it. Imagine. So, again, this is just not looking good, man. I hate that it had to be Shaun Bailey, man. But
Yeah?
hopefully, yeah, man. It's a shame,
Had
man.
big hopes for him.
I mean, not really. Respectfully, not really. But I hate that, obviously, they're kind of singling him out to some degree. Obviously, there's other people they're mentioning, like Boris Johnson, of course. But, yeah, man, it's a shame. And the last headline takes us to Ukraine, where a senior World Bank official has told the BBC that Ukraine's economy will need external help for many years to come. The war-torn country also has a lot of potential to turn a lot of its assets into economic opportunity and recovery. This according to the same person, Anna Jared. The managing director for operations was talking before a major international conference in London on rebuilding Ukraine's economy. Last year, the country's economy shrank 29% to just over $140 billion. The World Bank and other multilateral development bodies are playing a key role in the Ukraine Recovery Conference, which is focusing on the role the private sector can play in rebuilding the country. The total reconstruction bill was estimated at $411 billion in March, but continued fighting with Russia means that obviously that would now be higher. The conference will start by hearing from the co-hosts, UK Prime Minister Rishi Sunak and the Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky. Mr. Sunak is set to announce $3 billion in World Bank loan guarantees and is expected to tell the delegates, as we've seen in the Bakhmut and Mariupol, what Russia cannot take, it will seek to destroy. They want to do the same to Ukraine's economy. President Zelensky's government is determined to drive reforms and become more open, more transparent, and ready for investment. In the immediate term, Ukraine needs $14 billion from international donors to get through this year. And that's it for the headlines.
All right, thanks for that. Before we go into topic of the day, just a reminder, guys, make sure you like the video, like and share to get these likes up, and obviously call in as well for the next topic. But yeah, let's go. What we saying, topic of the day.
Okay, so today's topic of the day, yeah. This was sent in by an anonymous person. Well, they will remain anonymous, but they know who they are. Pick them up. And it was inspired by something they sent to me. And this was about what seems to be a theme that, at least I feel like I've noticed it. So obviously everyone can correct me if I'm wrong. But in a chat, in everyday life, people are kind of adopting the whole position of, I'm just going to mind my business. It's up to them to live the way they want to live, this, that, and the third. And so the question kind of is, do you feel like taking that position sometimes leads to the world getting worse? If you feel like the world's even getting worse, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Because I feel as though, at least back in the day, everyone lived by this, it takes a village to raise a child. Everyone was kind of contributing to everyone's business, so to speak, right? Why is it today we seem to be more so, I'm going to keep to myself, that's up to you, this, that, and the third? Is that kind of taking us down the wrong road?
I think it depends on what people are minding their business about, innit? And whether or not people are, I guess, interfering or getting involved in situations that they can help to, you know, improve, diffuse, whatever the case may be. And also, everyone is dealing with their own issues and problems. So if I'm dealing with my own issues and problems, the last thing I want, or the last thing I have the capacity for, is to take on your issues as well. Because, you know, I'm on MT, you're on MT. So sometimes people don't even have the capacity to even help. And, you know, what's that phrase? You know, take paracetamol for other people's headache. Because we're all dealing with our own shit. We're all dealing with our own trials and tribulations in life. So sometimes it's hard to have to deal with yours too. Deal with other people's too, innit?
But if you feel like, for example, like you dealing with your own thing, right?
Yeah.
But we have this idea where it's like, oh, let's mind our own business. Maybe I was the right person that could help with your situation.
Yeah.
But because you maybe think that the world's mind their own business, you may not approach me, or I maybe feel like I'm stepping out of line to even inquire. You know what I'm saying? Could that then make the situation even worse?
I don't know, because it's not. If you're in a situation where you need help and you don't ask for help from the right person, it's not that person's fault. Then you didn't ask for the help, so the blaming can't be put on the person who was oblivious to your issue. And at the end of the day, you know, people can seek help, but your problem is your problem to deal with, especially if you caused it. So I don't think it's. You can look at it both ways. It could be you needed help, you didn't ask for help, and now your situation's worse because you didn't seek help. Right? Who's more to blame? The person who doesn't help someone in their time of need, or the person who doesn't seek help?
But is it a blame thing, or is
No,
it
no.
just
Blame might be the wrong choice of words,
Yeah.
but in the question that you've posed, in terms of, you know, us not helping each other, is there equal amount of accountability?
But probably not. Probably on the person who's going through the thing.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Because if you're hiding it well, then I would never know.
Yeah,
you
of
know what I'm
course.
saying? So
Yeah.
how do I even
Yeah.
ask? You know what I mean? And a lot of time people just say, "Oh, how you doing?" And everyone's generic thing
Yeah.
is, "Oh,
Yeah.
yeah, I'm fine." This
Yeah.
and the third. So you would never know, kind of, innit? But I don't know. Like even when we see things outside of our immediate circles and stuff, like on social media and stuff,
Yeah.
and we feel like certain viewpoints from people are just wild, or maybe we're hearing this particular thing in the news, this and the third. A lot of the time, people are scared to say certain things, and the default position is, you know what, it's nothing to do with me. But it's almost as though we forget that sometimes people's views and people's way of life will encroach on yours if you don't say anything. I'm not saying that's always the case, you know what I'm saying? But isn't that something that we should kind of factor in as well?
I don't know, man, because I don't have the energy to be arguing with people about their opinions.
Yeah, I hear you.
Whether I think they're wayward or I think that, like, I just don't have the energy. I've got my own things to focus on, not battling someone online because I've read something that I don't agree with. Like, if that's what you believe, that's what you believe in. If it's completely and utterly, you know, wild and dangerous, then maybe you might have to step in. You know what I'm trying to say? But for the most part, I leave people to it, man. Family, friends, things within my vicinity, I can get involved in that, but I don't engage with strangers about their viewpoints. That's just not who I am.
Is that, like, 100% get what you're saying, right?
Yeah.
But in that decision to kind of not engage, are you also thinking about where this could go long term? Or are you just thinking more so...
What, with that person or as a whole?
Sorry, as a whole. Like, for example, I want to try and think of an example.
Well, no, I'm not. So if I see someone online make an egregious, heinous comment, in my opinion, I'm not thinking of the greater effects of that person's opinion. I'm just thinking, this person said this, and that's it. I'm not thinking about how that's going to affect their family, their friends, and how that has a ripple effect. I'm not thinking about that.
Okay. Because I'm just thinking that, obviously, our next headline is going to be about Andrew Tate, right?
Yeah.
And we know that he just made crazy headlines with his views and this, that, and the third, right? For probably over a year now.
Yeah.
Do you feel like people's approach to Andrew Tate's rhetoric, right, was the right thing? Do you feel like it should be more so a thing of, you know what, that's his views, leave him to it? Or do you feel like the pushback that people gave to him and the incels, they call it incels, right?
Yeah.
Was warranted?
I think it depends. Like if because having an effect on other people, right, and building some type of following, some type of, you know, cult, whatever, and you can see, okay, cool, I can actually see tangibly how this is affecting others. There's like-minded people. If someone has a dangerous rhetoric and they've got, you know, heaps of supporters, then you can see, okay, there's a problem here. So I feel like if someone has a dangerous rhetoric and they're building and cultivating a following off of it, and you can see that their views that we all deem as dangerous are being shared by others, maybe that person then needs to be reprimanded because they're showing that they have power and they have influence, and not everyone does. So Joe Schmo, who has an anonymous account who said whatever, their views are not being, you know, there's no attention on that. But if someone like Andrew Tate, who is box office news, right, he's got big influence, he's known, he's popular in whatever, that's someone who maybe feared as dangerous because the negative rhetoric that you're spewing out is actually having an effect on others, and we can see it. And we can't always see how other people's views are affecting people. But we can with Andrew Tate.
But do you feel like, because remember, obviously, I don't know his rise like that, but he was once a Joe Schmo though. You know what I'm saying? That no one took.
Yeah, and I'm sure when he was a Joe Schmo, and maybe that's the problem, because when he was a Joe Schmo, no one took any notice of him, and now he's built. But whose job is it to reprimand Andrew Tate? It might be his parents' job. It's not. I don't think it's. I don't think it's my job. I think it starts at home, innit? It starts with his parents. Starts with his family, his friends. It doesn't start with the public. At a certain point, the public have to intervene. But if you see a child acting bad on the street, who's the person that's meant to reprimand that child? It's their parents.
But I'm glad you said that. It kind of goes back to the whole thing I was saying in the beginning about the village and stuff. Because certain times, especially like back in the day, like if for example, you might be messing about, there might be an uncle or something might see you guys in the estate and say, yo, like you need to chill.
Yeah, which is good.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
But now, it's come down. I remember one time, I don't know why I'm even thinking about this, but this pops into my brain. At church, this is probably like Sunday school days.
Yeah.
And one guy was just misbehaving or whatever. I didn't see what he was doing, but all I saw was the aftermath, where his mum came out to defend him and was shouting at one of the other aunties and stuff like this for trying to reprimand him and correct him. And I don't think they tried to beat him or anything like that.
Yeah.
But obviously they may have been tough on him or whatever it may be.
Yeah.
But she didn't behave in a typical way that you would expect a Nigerian auntie to behave. She went straight to the defense of the kid. And to me, that was wild back then. You know what I'm saying? But I feel like that's almost like the main thing now, today.
Yeah.
And so you kind of get people who are kind of being like lone rangers out here, because everyone's kind of scared to say something, because you feel like maybe you're overstepping the boundaries. When before, maybe if people kind of did certain things, it kind of kept people in check.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. Yeah, no, I hear what you're saying. And I'm not saying that if I saw something I didn't agree with, I wouldn't say anything. I think it just depends, man. I think it depends. Like the other day, I remember I saw some guys who, when they approached me, it was like, oh, they knew who I was, whatever. And then I saw them doing balloons. And I was like, brothers, cut it out. Like literally, I spoke to them, I was like, cut it out. This ain't the way to go, innit? And they're like, oh, bro, you know, just trying to have fun, we're young. I'm like, bro, you know what these balloons do to you, innit? Like this ain't the way. Like don't stop it now. Like put it down. Like bro, come on, man. You know we're young, we're stupid, we're just trying to have fun. So I didn't like what I saw in it. So I spoke to them, right? So it can happen. It can happen. There are times when I do intervene, but for the most part, like I'm not gonna die on the hill, innit? If you want to smoke the balloon, sorry, not smoke the balloon. If you want to inhale the balloon, then that's on you, innit? I've done my part. There's only so far I can go. You know what I mean?
And to me, that's a good example though, because at least you didn't mind your business there. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And that potentially could have been something that helped them guys down the line. You know what I'm saying? But if we kind of adopt the whole, I mind my own business, everyone can do their own thing. Everyone can Google the effects of this, that, and the third. You know what I'm saying? Like it's almost as though, like, ignorance is kind of just, we're allowed to just allow people to be ignorant. And yeah, obviously, sometimes it's part of the journey. You know what I'm saying? But sometimes if we're in a position to maybe correct someone and just say something, to me anyway, it seems like that's the best thing to do. If you've got the time, if you can be bothered with this, that, and the third. You know what I mean?
I think my interference depends on how, dire I determine that situation to be in that moment. Also take into account maybe that person's age, and just the general nuances. I remember one time me and Marv were chilling in his car outside Commercial Way, and we saw like a man and then his partner arguing and fighting, and we got out, ran over and tried to defuse it, because to me that was an extreme situation that I needed to interfere in that. You know what I'm trying to say? So it just depends on what is actually going on.
Brent, how do you see, like, obviously I want to take it to a slightly different place, right?
Yeah.
But like, how do you see the role of church, the mosque, and like religious institutions in this? Because a lot of time, like I said, right, we may say, oh, I'm going to mind my business, this and the third. But would we have the same approach in the church? And would we want the same approach from someone else towards us if we need something in church? You know what I'm saying?
So what you're asking me is, in church, should people mind other people's business more?
Yeah. Or no, it's more so in church, I feel like people don't. Sorry, in church, I feel like people do mind their business. Because you're part of the community to some degree, right?
You think people mind their business more? I think people are in people's business more.
Ah, okay. I guess there's a
People
difference.
I think people are in people's business a lot more in religious environments.
Yeah, that's what I mean. Like you're minding other people's business type thing. Is that what you mean?
Mind other people's business. Isn't that to not get involved? Isn't that what minding business means, right?
No, if you
mean the opposite?
Yeah.
You mean not minding your business?
Yes, exactly.
Yeah.
So and it's like we're kind of used to that in that religious setting, right? But outside of the church, outside of the mosque, outside of our religious thingy or groups or whatever, organizations, we're then in the world thinking, nah, leave it to them. Is that a problem?
But within religious settings, I feel like for me especially, there's a sense of community, there's a sense of familiarity. It's like family almost. So I feel like I know you. I feel like I have the right to get involved because you're not a stranger to me. Like the propensity for me to get involved in the life of a stranger is way lower than someone that I know, someone that I'm familiar with, someone that I associate with, right? Where there's some type of connection. You can't just approach a stranger. You don't know what the rebuttal could be in it. So it's easier to get involved in the life of someone that you know as opposed to someone that you don't know. And that's kind of the way I see it in regards to like, it could be anything. It could be church, it could be work, it could be whatever, space where you're familiar with people. The propensity for you to feel more comfortable to intervene or to ask questions about their life is way higher than someone you randomly see on the street having a domestic or having an argument, or they look sad, they look upset, right? It's easier to approach someone you know as opposed to someone you don't know. And that's probably, that plays a part.
That's true. But also, with social media though, do you feel like those degrees of separation is reduced like crazy, where you feel like to some degree you kind of know the person?
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? And so maybe I should say something, if that makes sense.
Yeah, no, I think, social media does, you feel like you know people on social media that you haven't even met before. You might be following them for years and you feel like you know that person. And I see it all the time. I see someone might say something, someone might tweet a thought or a feeling, and you check out the comments, there's people consoling them, people adding words of encouragement, trying to make them feel better. So you do see it, but that person's put that feeling out there. So they've let it be known I feel some type of way. And they're almost looking for comfort. Because, when you put your thoughts out there, it's because you want something back. Sometimes it's a cry for help. Sometimes it's just a form of letting out your frustration. Sometimes you want that communication, you want that discourse with people to where they're going to make you feel comfortable and make you feel better. So,
Okay. Okay. I want to take it to another place now, and I'll put it out first, right? That I am not in any way trying to offend anybody.
Do you need to put up signposts?
I don't think you need to.
Okay.
But just in case, if you want to.
What's it for?
I want to talk about identity.
oh, yeah, I thought, to be fair, when you were playing it earlier, I thought that was the topic of the day.
Oh, no.
That's just my morning digest.
So yeah, like with identity, again, not trying to offend nobody. When I'm talking about like transgender stuff, right? When I talk about this identity thing, I'm not even including the trans thing. So LGBT community, I'm not including them in this part of the discussion. Because obviously there is a difference between identifying as a gender and identifying as something that's not even human, right?
Yeah.
So I want to talk about the identifying as something that's not even human. In schools now, people are being encouraged to be free and be whatever, right?
Yeah.
Just yesterday, I'm pretty sure people pretty much heard or saw something on the internet going around where there was this recording of a teacher kind of reprimanding, castigating a particular student because he felt as though this particular person's identity didn't make sense. He basically said, he asked the teacher, I believe, correct me if I'm wrong, if this person wants to identify as a cat, should we kind of entertain that type of thing? And the teacher said yes. So starting there, right?
They were girls, by the way.
Oh, the girls?
Yeah, they were girls.
Okay,
and
cool.
the teacher was a woman.
Okay.
Or identified as I don't know.
All right. So, but yeah. So let's enter it around the whole thing of identifying as a cat.
Yeah.
Now, back in the day, at least I would like to think, if a child was meowing all over the place, right, and identifying as a cat, right, a lot of us will step in and be like, okay, this person's just playing. But if we thought like this is getting serious, people would feel like this is crazy. Let's nip this in the bud and make sure this doesn't continue.
Yeah.
Now, using that one example.
Yeah.
I know it's just one time.
Yeah.
I'm not saying every teacher does this at
Yeah.
all, but in this particular classroom, this qualified teacher is saying, no, mind your mouth, this person is a cat. Do you get where I'm coming from?
Yeah.
Is it not time in areas like this, we
Yeah.
kind of mind other people's business? Because if we mind our own business, you know what I'm saying? Isn't this potentially dangerous?
I think that's even bigger than minding your business. To me, I'm laughing in my head because I remember I took my niece last week to see Little Mermaid. And when we were in the lobby, she's like, I'm a duck, quack, quack. So this whole cat thing was just making me laugh. But there's levels to identity in it. Like, to me, some things, border on the ridiculous, right? They border on things that I can't comprehend in it. Like, there's being open-minded, there's letting people be free-spirited and have choice. Then to me, there's just letting things go too far. Where you're identifying as animals when you're a human being.
Yeah.
Like, we're all human beings, innit? We can all, I saw a chart yesterday about there's more than one gender.
Yeah.
And it was like a pink and blue split.
Okay.
And they had different, whatever. Like, in terms of identifying as different genders, right? I know the world's veering in a different direction. Cool. We can roll with that. But identifying as a different species altogether is where we need to really, really stop it. You know what I'm trying to say? You're not a cat. You're a human being. You're not a cat. Like, you're not a cat. You're not a cat. That's a cat. Like, we need to stop it, man. Knock it off.
But this is the thing though.
Emmanuel, the other day you said that we're animals, so don't go on like you're not the main advocate for this particular thing.
Man, that's different though.
Oh, it's different now, is it? You can see the difference now.
I'm just talking about scientific categorizations though. Like, there's plants and there's animals. I'm not saying I'm a cat or a lizard.
Yeah, but okay, cool. If that's the case, then but there's different types of animals then, and we're not.
Exactly, yeah.
Was it feline? We're not feline.
Exactly.
Yeah.
We're Homo sapiens sapien, but we're just for the animal tree, innit? You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
But that side open, yeah. All right, I am. That side open.
Do you want some water?
No, I got some. It's just the last remnants. But yeah. Yusuf made a good point, right? And I agree. You said when it comes to this particular thing of cats and knock it off. This is not what we are or what you is.
Yeah.
Right? You are, right?
That was a conviction as well.
But again, no, I mean this not in no disrespect at all. But 100 years ago, people thought there were only two genders, right? And that was what you was born with.
Yeah.
And the world has kind of changed, it's evolved, we're learning more, this, that, and the third, right? Is it not possible for us to then, now, with time, 20, 50 years from now, say, you know what? Maybe this identifying as a particular animal is a real thing and people should be allowed to do particular things. You know what I'm saying? Because we spoke about this particular guy who used to be a banker. I think he made loads of money, but he quit his job and everything, right?
Yeah.
And he identified as a lizard.
Yeah.
He got tattoos. He looks like a lizard man now, right? I think he's got implants to get horns and he's split his tongue. This guy is committed. You know what I'm saying? This is not just a regular guy who's just trying to get out of trouble and saying, I'm a lizard. That's why I bit this person. No, this guy is committed. Why can't we allow him to be a lizard?
Thing is, if you want to be a cat then. Like,
okay.
Like, be a cat for real then. Don't go to work, right? Don't go shopping. Cats don't go shopping. Do what cats do then if you're a cat, right? Cats don't wear clothes. Cats don't eat meals with knife and forks. Cats don't do that. So if you want to be a cat, then delve into it and be a cat then. If you're not going to be a cat 100%, then you're not a cat. Because all this identifying stuff, when it comes to animals, is mental. It's not physical. It's a mentality. You feel like you're a cat mentally, but physically you're not a cat. You're not a lizard. You're not. If you go and live in their habitat, then if you're a lizard, go and live a lizard's life. Go and live amongst lizards.
Yeah.
Go and live amongst cats. Go and be someone's pet.
Emmanuel, thank you, Yusuf. That's a great point. But Emmanuel, why do you see it as the gate being opened when people say this stuff about I want to identify as a cardboard box and stuff, right?
Mm-hmm.
Why do you parallel it to? This is why it is we can't allow people to say that they're a woman when it is they're a man.
Oh no, I'm not paralleling to that. Remember,
that is an extreme, right?
What's
In
the
your
extreme?
estimation, the whole cat stuff.
Yeah, 100%.
So there are certain people out there, if you're saying that it's just not you, that those people think that identifying as a woman, if you have a willy and stuff, is extreme. So they can use those examples as parallels.
Yep.
Do you agree with that?
Obviously, I don't want to put my personal.
Just identify as somebody else whilst, because
Okay,
obviously we don't
yeah.
have one of them in the room, and we would obviously
Okay,
like
yes,
representation.
yes,
So pretend
yeah.
like you are that person today.
Okay, cool.
Yes.
Yes. Say the question again.
Do you agree with it?
Do I agree with what exactly? So I can be clear.
That it can be paralleled. This cat example is as extreme as a person born with male genitalia saying they are now a woman.
I don't think the two are the same, because I feel like it takes a lot more to try and be, and even try and convince the world that you're a cat and you're a human being. You know what I'm saying? Like, how do we? You know what I'm saying? It's different. Like, normally if somebody was to jump on your back, right, you may get defensive, this and third.
Yeah.
If a cat did it, you may just be like, whew, and kind of may shoo the cat away, right? But you won't necessarily want to beat up the cat. So that means you may have to change your behavior if somebody did that to you and says, "I'm a cat." You know what I'm saying? You say, "I'm a cat."
Well, you're not cats. Cats don't speak English. Cats don't speak, so you're not a cat. The fact that you can speak it means that you're not a cat. Like,
but isn't that down to how you see what a cat is? Though?
It's just perception,
no,
right?
it's not. No, it's not perception. It's reality.
No, again.
Like this, I get we're trying to have this.
Exactly.
We're trying to have this open-minded conversation where we try to think outside the box.
Yeah.
Let's get into the matrix. No, that's a cat. You're a human being. It's not the same. Like, identifying as another gender makes way more sense because the biology is the same. There's only two genders. We're both human beings. So, but identifying as an animal, as something that you're obviously not because of a mentality, I don't buy into that. When it comes to animals, I don't, or objects. Oh, I'm a box. I'm a chair.
Yeah.
No, you're not a box or a chair. Mentally, something has gone on where you feel like you are that for whatever the reason is. I don't know, but I can't buy into that.
Yeah.
And I guess this comes back to your original question. Should people mind their business about this? If you want to identify as whatever you want to identify as, why is it your problem? Is it only when it starts being implemented into the classrooms is when you're saying, okay, now it's a community thing. Now it's affecting individuals who don't have their own agency to know what is happening. Is that why we're talking about this particular thing? To basically link it back to the original question.
I think so, because if it's just like done in your house, nobody really knows, or nobody knows at all. You know what I'm saying? Okay, we got a caller. I'll come back to that. Good morning, caller.
Is when
yeah, I want to speak on this subject. I'm listening to it now.
All right.
Hello?
Hello.
Hello.
Yeah, what's your name?
What's your name?
My name's, shall I use my real name?
Can identify
this
whatever you want, bro.
Okay, my name's Bob.
All right, bro.
Okay.
So I think this discussion is more about it's twofold. It's more about what is the objective truth. So if the objective truth, like we say 1 + 1 is 2, right? Everyone agrees, and that was not a wild statement a while ago. And now, if someone decides to say it's 3, then if it's all about objective truth. So if saying I know you're talking about cats, but if you're saying like a man is what the definition of a man is, what the definition of a woman is certain things that were objective truths up until recently. Now, if people keep talking about their own truths and all that stuff, so now we're in a culture where if the truth is subjective and everyone's truth is whatever they want it to be, then everything falls apart. Do you know what I mean?
Yep.
Yeah.
So I think that's more discussion objective truths. If you can make stuff that used to be, while agreed upon by everyone, which is an objective truth, and now it's subjective, then there's no hold bars. Then that means the cat thing should go, innit? Cat thing can happen.
Yeah.
And there's a podcast that you guys should listen to called the Witch Trials of J.K. Rowling. And she actually, you guys were talking about how should we mind our own business? Why does it affect you? Blah blah blah. And the interesting thing that J.K. Rowling said was that, I'm kind of paraphrasing it, but she said, I have that FU money. Basically, I got enough money that I can say my real opinions without getting cancelled, which is what most of us don't have, which is why everyone's tiptoeing around what we really want to say. But so she said she felt it was her obligation to actually address these issues just because she knew she was in the position that most people aren't, where she can say what she really feels and don't care about the backlash. And she said that she was talking on behalf of the other people that weren't in their position because they don't want to lose their jobs, etc. And she said that she doesn't actually care about her legacy per se, because she said it's quite narcissistic to think about your legacy. Legacy is just basically what people think about you when you die. And she said, I'd rather be on the right side of history and people hate me now, but in 50 years time, what are you going to say to your grandkids when you say, Granddad, what were you doing when they were letting kids do this to their body and do that to their body? You're going to be like, I just minded my own business because I didn't want any problems.
Yeah.
Are you going to say that to your grandkids? You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, 100%. Makes perfect sense. But you know what?
So, yeah.
Bob, yeah. In fact, I'm going to call you Black Bob, yeah.
Yeah.
Objective truth. Can objective truth become subjective over time, though?
By definition, no. If 1 + 1 is 2, then it can't be anything else. No.
What if society deems it to be 3?
So that's what social engineering is.
Okay.
It's like if you decide that, there's this whole thing about if data is like oil, that's what they say, data is oil. If you can basically tell the public, it's a bit like, okay, I don't even go into this, but if you can tell the public that you only give them one bit of information and then they chastise or they talk down the other side, that means you only get one side of things. So for example, the COVID stuff, whether you believe it or not, that's not the discussion. The discussion is that they only let you, the only information, there was a time on YouTube that if you said anything about it that was against the zeitgeist, then you get your channel cancelled. Now, whether you believe it or not, the fact that they're not letting people have access to both sides of the information means that if you only get one side, that's what gets indoctrinated into your head. So the same way, there's some people that believe, there's only 2 genders. Some believe that there's 50. The fact that there's a social cost to saying one and not to the other, you should be able to have both discussions. But they're only letting one be prevalent and the other one, there's a social cost to saying that out loud, means that they're trying to socially engineer the public to only have one way of viewing this discussion, when you should have a discussion that allows you to talk about both sides. That is the issue in itself. And once you keep doing that, eventually you're going to have a generation of people that just accept one thing as a narrative just because it's been drummed into them. It's the same way, like, you listen to a playlist on the radio. They'll play the same 20 songs on the playlist 50 times. Whether you like it or not, you'll like it, and it'll go to number 1 because it's been engineered into you to like it. The same way, if you don't get both sides of a discussion, there's obviously going to be people that are free thinkers, but they're a very small subset of society. Everyone's going to just be like, oh, let them be. And to be honest, it's not a matter of let them be, because, like, for the most part, it won't affect us, most people directly, or most people don't really have a dog in the race, but it's just more so, why isn't the discussion allowed to be had? Do you know what I mean? Mm-hmm. Even us, as we're tiptoeing around it, and turn the mics off, have a conversation with your friends, it'll be a different discussion. But you don't have to have that because there's a social cost to having the real discussion. That is the problem in itself.
Yeah, 100%. But you know what? Let me ask you this though. Do you feel like society could benefit from a healthy dose of social engineering though? Or do you feel like social engineering?
It's happening in real time, and but the problem is, the social engineering is happening in real time, and the problem that the people that use it are. Okay, I'll give you another example. Every time I see it happening, I just look at stuff differently. Every time I see it happening, I can see it like a mile away, and I'm just like, the people that are using it for bad. You could use it for good in some aspects, but they're using it for bad. I'll give you an example. Over the last 3 years, I keep listening to LBC and all these different radio stations, and they keep making us, they keep pushing a narrative for us to hate Extinction Rebellion. They always show people sticking themselves to the ground in on the motorway, and then people calling in like, "Oh, I'm late for work." Da, 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 da. I can see the player like a mile away. Extinction Rebellion is a fringe group that everyone can equally hate because they're like, "Why are they making you late for work?" Blah blah blah. But what they're doing is that they're getting the public on side so that they can pass laws against protesting. And then they'll package it as, "Oh, we're just doing it because it's Extinction Rebellion." So the next time there's a Black Lives Matter movement or whatever, they'll be like, "Well, you let us pass these laws, so now we're going to use it for this." They're going to use it for a fringe group that everyone agrees is kind of annoying, and then they'll push it out to everything else. Yeah. So this is social engineering. You need to get the public on side first by paying it, and then you can push through the policies that you actually want. And the people that use it are using it for nefarious reasons. It can be used for good, but I haven't seen it used for good.
Okay, makes sense.
Yeah, and you forgot to mention that the day after do it too. Emmanuel and Marcus do it all the time. I love them people, man.
But you know what, yeah, Black Bob, yeah, before you go, to bring it back home, do you feel like we should, as a society, mind each other's business, or do you feel like we should more so take an approach of, you know what, to each his own, let them do what they want to do?
Nah, because I saw someone put into the comment section for evil to win, good men do nothing. The same way that and I don't want to get too it's the same way that when stuff like this happens, stuff I'm not going to go into what is, but stuff that happens now that may not affect you directly, but when it reverberates and it starts to affect you directly, that's when you want to take action. But it's too far gone now. Now you need to now address it at the beginning when there's actually people that are actually like-minded, but everyone's kind of shook and no one wants to say anything. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Because it's the same way. I'm sure there was guys in Germany that were like, they weren't on none of that stuff, but they saw bare people subscribing to it. And they were like, "Oh, guess I'm in the minority. I have to follow suit." Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, 100%. Okay, cool, man.
So, appreciate it.
Thank you very much.
Thank you very much for the call, Black Rock.
Thank you.
Awesome. Go.
But I think as a whole, people are very much in people's business, though. Like I feel like people are, the word nosy is branded around a lot. Inner, we use the word inner. Like people have always been in people's business, in my opinion. So with this conversation, what exactly are we alluding to when we say people mind their business? Because people are very much in people's business all the time.
That's true. But maybe it's more so, obviously correct me if I'm wrong, but I feel like maybe when people are in people's business, it's usually just to hear something and gossip. Yeah. As opposed to maybe debate. Because me personally, I feel like debate is healthy across the board, always. You know what I'm saying?
But people, if we look at what's our platform for debating these days, it's mainly Twitter, right?
Yeah.
People debate on Twitter all day long. I feel like people go on Twitter to debate. Yeah. Yeah. So I feel like, I don't know, in what sphere is there a lack of getting involved in people's business? Is it in the places that really matter then? Schools, the homes? Because social media debates only go so far. Does it have an actual tangible effect on society or on the lives of people? So is there a lack of actual real action in the real world?
Maybe it doesn't spill out from social media into the real world, like you're saying. But at the same time, I feel like I can't help but feel like if those debates on social media didn't happen, maybe more crazy things would be occurring.
Yeah, no,
you know what I'm saying?
No, the debate and the discourse is needed. It's definitely needed. But that's my point. I'm saying that people are in people's business. But how far does it go? Like what long-lasting effects does it actually have? Yeah, this is it. And how do you know how far to push it? Do you care to push it to where you think it's going to have an effect, or do you just have your discussion on day one and then day two you're over it?
Yeah, it makes sense. It makes sense. What you're saying, I think, you know what, like when you mentioned that, again, the first thing that came to mind, and again, this is not me sending no shots at anyone, I'm putting out a disclaimer there, I don't mean to offend nobody here, but it's just, I feel like this is a genuine question and concern for a lot of people. When we talk about the whole trans debate as well, right, and we talk about toilets, people don't know, like, sorry, caller, 1 second, people don't know, like, what side to be on. It's like everyone wants to be, like, let's just say you've got a bunch of people who want to actually support people who are trans, but at the same time they feel like the whole toilet thing is an issue. It's like, how do we tackle this? You know what I'm saying? So I feel like those debates are necessary to then figure out the best way for us as a society to kind of accommodate everyone so that people are somewhat
But you know what it is? I feel
happy.
like the toilet debate is new though, because most venues that have been around for decades don't have toilets for men, women, and transgenders or whatever. So I feel the toilet debate just needs time.
Yeah.
To where in the future there'll be more toilets that cater to different genders, as opposed to a new idea has been implemented into an old institution to where we don't even have the infrastructure to support what you want right now, because we only have 2 toilets.
Yeah.
So now we have to argue about what toilet to go in.
Yeah, that's true.
I need to build a new toilet now, right? Give me some time. I feel like the toilet debate is too early to be concluded, because it's about infrastructure. We need to have more toilets then, if that's the problem.
Yeah. Good morning, caller.
Good morning. How is everyone today?
Fantastic.
Good, thank you.
I know this voice. You good?
Okay. Yes, I'm very well, thank you.
Good.
I'm very well. Yes, I have my 2 pence to share on this topic. I feel like, although today, I do feel like to an extent people are definitely very nosy and like to be informed and discuss other people's business. That doesn't necessarily mean they get into people's business, because it's just discussion. As in the whole idea of how, like, what's it called? Like, the village raises a child was very prominent in almost all societies hundreds of years ago. Anywhere you go, any village you went to, it would be a common practice that the village raises that child, be it in Ghana or Ireland or wherever it is. The village was raising a child, and not just discussing your business, but like actually taking action, as in, this person, I don't know, an example, I'm just picking a random one from the top of my head. This man is an alcoholic, no one sell him alcohol, that sort of thing, as in action was actually made. However, now it's just, have you seen this guy? He's drinking again. And then everyone just walks on, then they go to work and they allow him to just sit there and drink his day away. You see, so I feel like that's the difference. I do feel like with this whole thing, I personally think that anyone can live whatever life they want to live at the end of the day, because as long as you are an adult. However, the problem I feel is that's not what we're discussing here. These people or these agendas are actually literally being pushed to children, which I think is completely wrong. You can tell a child that you are allowed to be a cat, because then this child is like, their whole outlook on life is going to be completely skewed. And that is very, and what's it called? I think, I can't remember who asked the question. I think it was Brent, and he was relating the wanting to be a cat to wanting to be a different gender. And the thing I don't understand about this is, I've had a couple of debates, and what I don't understand is, where do we draw the line? Because at the end of the day, or at the beginning of the day, none of these things are true. Now, if you are an adult and you want to identify as a man or a woman or something that you weren't born as, okay, fair enough. You know what? You do you. But you identify, like, as in me, myself, I identify as a man because I was born a man. Now, I have never, ever needed anyone to, consolidate the fact that I am a man. No one has ever had to reinforce the fact that I am a man. I don't need that from anyone, because I know it to be true. But these people, they say they want to identify. If you want to identify as a woman, like if someone was to call me a woman today or any time, I will continue living my life and go on and just ignore it because I know it's rubbish. But it's like now they are trying to bring everybody into this charade and want everyone to play this game along with them, which just doesn't necessarily make sense. This is cognitive dissonance. The things that we know right in front of us is not true. We're now having to play along with, oh, okay, that's true. And then one question I also ask is that, okay, if you can be whatever gender that you want, then how come you can't be whatever color or a race that you want? How come you can't pick your race? And then to that argument, I always hear, oh, you're being ridiculous. And I don't understand how that can possibly, how can that possibly be? Why is it that I am being ridiculous in saying that we can change race when you are saying that you can change sex? When I would even argue that race is more on a spectrum than gender. With gender, you are born with literally one or the other. People are born with people are many different shades of colors. People are born mixed race. That I would say is more of a spectrum. So,
but Saleh,
I think I'm.
Sorry
yes.
to cut you. Yeah, remember?
No.
Obviously, I can't speak for that community, right? But they will be quick to say to you, sex and gender are two different things, right? So you can't say, yeah, we're born with a sex and then use it to then say the thing about the gender. And also, I wanted to ask you, because you mentioned before that you just know that you're a man. You just know that you are, right? But
yes,
weren't we taught this as kids? Like, didn't our parents maybe say, no, you're a boy, you do this maybe, and you're a girl, you do that, for example? Like, yes, we were taught very early, but we were still taught nonetheless. Or no?
No.
Okay.
No. Because like no one ever told me, oh, Saleh, you are a man, you put the penis into the vagina. Like no one had to tell me that in biology. And people keep saying, oh, like all this sex stuff is like a social construct. It is not. It is not. Now in today's society,
gender.
We now have.
Remember, Saleh, sorry.
Gender, yeah. Now in today's society, we have external things and other things that, okay, maybe you say the man should carry the shopping. Now that would be an example of a social construct. But at the end of the day, we have men who, like some men are like things that I guess you could say the average girl would like, and vice versa. You have tom girls and tomboys and all this kind of thing. But that does still not negate the fact that this person's biology, the thing between their legs, will do one certain thing. And I think people are conflating the two. Yet, like, just because you're a man and you want to wear a dress and blah, 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 that is fine. That is completely fine. But that does not mean that you are a woman. Because if you were to now go to the hospital and complain that you are having, a miscarriage, then what? What should the doctor also play along with you and say, oh, okay, well, let's check the symptoms? No. Let's stop wasting time and let's call it what it is.
Yeah, I hear you. But again, obviously, I don't want us to go around in circles, but you have to remember, I feel as though with the whole genitalia thing and all that, right, that is on the side of sex. Again, I can't speak for the community. Like I'm learning, on the go, innit? But like the gender thing is outside of genitalia. It's outside of X and Y chromosomes. It's completely different. This is what we're hearing. You know what I'm saying? Yes, it's new to us, but again, maybe it's our understanding or our lack of understanding that's making us sometimes group the two and link the two when it's not the same. You know what I'm saying? And maybe that's why I was struggling to grasp it.
I believe that at the end of the day, like when things get serious, when things really get serious in a society, that's when realities really portray themselves. And if right now bombs started falling from the sky, no one's going to, like, we have come so far from reality that now we are discussing very, very silly trivial things that don't matter. And it's actually quite saddening that these are the topics of debates that we are having in today. Because if you go to China, if you go to Russia, and all these places, they're not having these discussions. And well, I'm not sure if I believe in this or not, but this is an argument that I've heard, that even especially with TikTok being ran by China, and the fact that when you go and you see the Chinese TikTok, they have none of the stuff there, none of these dances, none of these silly things that is going on here in this side of the world. So some people are saying that all of this, the fact that we're having all these arguments is actually part of World War III, and that China is intentionally doing this as psychological warfare to just mess up the whole society and what's it called, and make sure that we are not unified and we are divided, and we are and wasting time speaking about silly stuff like this while their children are out there learning how to build faster rockets, and they are trying to become actually something of value and produce things. Because it's none of this. Like, if you just sit and you think about it, like, why are we discussing this? If you want to, if you're an adult and you want to lead your life however you want to lead it, that is perfectly fine. But at the end of the day, leave the children alone. Let the children be. Let them grow up and know exactly, like, give them the facts. How can you teach a child biology and you're telling them that they can be whatever they want? How is a man going to ever produce, even till this day, right now, they still have not come up with a way that a man can produce eggs. Like, it is impossible. So what are we trying to teach them?
I mean, I definitely hear you, Sally. But at the same time, obviously we've got to wrap up now, yeah. But at the same time, it's easy for us to say, Russia and China are not having these discussions. But remember, just some decades ago, or early in the 20th century, they were having discussions about communism. You know what I'm saying? They were practicing it, and millions died. That's not a great thing. So you can't necessarily use you know what I mean? But I get your point. I get your point, though.
And that is a very good point as well. But just because on that side of the world, they let's say they got one thing wrong, doesn't now mean that everything else is they do is false as well. We can't, of course. We can't just take that and then extrapolate. Yeah.
I hear you. Well, thanks again for calling in, man.
No worries. Everyone, have a fantastic day, man.
And you too.
You too.
Thanks.
All right.
Rebecca, you said you wanted to call in quickly. The phone line is open. We're waiting patiently. But it's interesting, this whole line. Obviously, we started this conversation with the audio. We didn't play the audio, but the audio that you were referencing.
Yeah, the cat.
Yeah, were two girls having a conversation with their teacher. And it was off the back of another child wanting to identify as a cat, and the teacher saying that that child should be allowed to do that. And it's interesting that a lot of people would say that that's just out the bounds, like that's just crazy, and they would say that's a mental issue.
Good morning, caller.
Hello.
Good morning.
Hi.
Is this Rebecca?
Yes, it is.
All right. Cool.
Not you drawing me out. Okay.
Oh, sorry.
Good morning. How are you?
I'm fine, thank you, guys. How are you?
All good.
Bless.
Good. I just wanted to talk just very briefly on a couple of things. Not too much not all really on the whole trans discussion and things like that, because I'll just very briefly say that gender non-conforming people have been around for centuries. I think it's just now that we've got the language to, I guess, put a quote-unquote label to their expression or to how it is that they feel. And it's interesting, I guess, that we're having a discussion about what's people's business. And I think, for me personally, this is one of the things I don't think is anyone's business. And I think in terms of what people should be involved with, or what is people's business, what isn't, I think people are probably in each other's businesses when we shouldn't be. Probably like for gossip and whatever it is. We can see on like social media how many times people want to know what's going on with celebrities, or we can see in church, everyone's, or places of worship. We can see people getting into it, getting into each other's business, but people aren't really getting involved with people's business when we should be. For example, when people are suffering, when you see, I hate to quote Salah, but when you see people who are suffering with alcoholism or suffering with depression, how often do we actually make it a point to support and help people? I think there's probably more that we could be doing. So often I have to kind of remind myself of the parable of the Good Samaritan and try to do things that I can that are within my power and control. For example, if you see someone who's drunk on the road and they're just laying down there, you could literally give them a bottle of water because they need it. And these small actions that we could be doing on a daily basis, or whatever the case is, to actually help people and make it our business to care for people when we can, and not just be in people's business for the sake of gossip and for the sake of judgment.
Okay, Rebecca, can I ask a quick question there? Obviously, I don't want us to I don't want to put too much pressure on you or whatever, but I just want to ask, because I'm interested to hear your opinion on this, right? Do you feel like, how do I even phrase this? Do you feel like children can be molded by the whole discussion about gender identity? Do you feel like a child can change their gender based on what they've been taught? Or do you feel like the gender they end up being when they're a grown adult is the gender that they were always going to be?
That's an interesting question, because I think part of that, in order to answer that, I probably have to think about why it is that I'm straight, why it is that everyone else in the room is straight. It's because I believe myself to be. I've never had any sexual thoughts or inclinations towards people of the same gender or sexual sex as me. Again, is this something that has been taught to me? Potentially, possibly. I do think gender is a construct. It's a social construct. It's something that is fluid and changes with time. It changes with whatever society needs or whichever direction society is going in. So can children be taught this? I guess so, potentially, because we all are. We all are taught how our bodies work, what they're used for, and all that type of stuff. So we are all taught it. However, I've always known that I'm straight. So in that sense, I can't possibly imagine what it is like to be on the other end of the spectrum and always know that I'm gay. I can only assume that it's the same exact feeling. So that's all I can say to that. So it's potentially something that people are always taught. In some aspects, maybe it's something that can come out of trauma potentially. But again, I can't really speak on that because I am a straight cisgendered woman who's always believed myself to be so.
Okay. All right. Well, I don't want to push back too much. You know what I mean? I'll ask follow-up questions too much. But yeah, okay.
Thank you
very
much.
much. Thank you very much for calling.
I'm gonna ask
No
you,
worries. Bye.
Bye.
Thank you. Do you feel like there's certain pillars of life that if you believe in God, you can put it under the guise of God, that God has implemented that we cannot or should not change, and they should just be as God intended, again, if you believe in God, and that's just it, right? So in speaking about gender, as in this is what God has deemed, certain things can evolve, change, grow, we can see things in a certain way, but certain things should be the cornerstone, the pillar, and the cement of what we build society and life off of, right? Do you believe that gender is or should be one of those things, or something that God has put in place can now change with time, like gender?
It's a tough one, yeah, because I feel like people's definitions of things are changing. Like, obviously, I don't want to speak for you guys, right? But I've always believed sex and gender was the same thing, or at least were linked to the point where the two just cannot be separated. If I'm a man by sex, I'm a man by gender. It's only obviously in the last certain amount of years, right? Like Rebecca's articulated, where people are now getting the language.
Yeah.
If this is true,
Yeah.
that gender has always been a fluid thing, then I guess that I don't feel like that's necessarily something that God has maybe made as a standard. If that's the case.
Yeah. I'm talking to more about biology and science as opposed to
100%, yeah.
how you feel.
Yeah. If it's a biological
or
thing,
how you identify.
Yeah.
More so I'm talking about biology.
Cool. If you're talking about biology, then I agree. I believe there's certain things God has made.
Yeah.
That is that is just what's the word? It's in sync with just natural law.
Yeah.
And they should remain that way. And if we start to mess with those things, I feel like we're gonna pay the price.
Yeah.
Basically.
Yeah.
Good morning, caller.
Good morning, caller.
Hi. Morning. Hi, guys.
Morning.
How are you?
It's Bathroom Diaries. I'm
Long time.
fine, thank you.
Hello.
Oh man.
She said she's called from WhatsApp, but I guess she's on Wi-Fi, so Wi-Fi is just reconnecting right now. You're back now.
Oh, can you hear me?
Yeah, we
Yeah.
hear you now.
Oh, okay, cool. Yeah, so I wouldn't consider myself as part of the LGBT community, but I have been with a woman before. Like, I am pretty much bi, but I don't like represent community.
You're dumb.
Sorry.
Oh my god.
Sorry.
Oh my god. It's fine.
Sorry,
But
wait,
what I
did
will
you
say
you have
is,
been what,
yeah.
sorry?
With a woman.
Okay. Sorry. Go on.
Yeah, but I'm not like all community. But what I will say is that, like, in primary school, right? The reason why I generally don't feel like it needs to be taught in school, because in primary school, I went to a Catholic primary school, right? Obviously mixed. We had two gay teachers, and it was obvious that they were gay, they were guys. But as kids, we just thought, okay, something's a bit different. But it wasn't like, okay, yeah, that's a man and he sleeps with a man, or that's a transgender. But as a kid, you have an instinct of, okay, something's a bit different here. And it's like, yeah, you can ask your parents, but I just think it's weird how, and I do think there's an agenda, but I feel like ignorant people or people that are not aware, they'll obviously fight for their rights and stuff. But I do feel like there's an agenda, or you're trying to teach kids about something that people don't even really know about anyway. Because like, even with transgenders, right, you can't really tell someone's a transgender unless, you know, they actually say it. So if teachers are going to be like, okay, well, there's a male, female, and then transgender, then there's just going to be a bunch of questions from kids, and it's going to be confusing, and it just doesn't make any sense. And I feel like I only started feeling a bit weird about like gay and it being wrong when I was a teenager. And I'm not gonna lie, I was listening to Passion and I was like, and that's where you kind of form your opinions, and then obviously God, and it just gets confusing. But as kids in primary school, all you need to learn, well, I think we need to learn more about our private parts and not having anyone touch it and all that stuff. But there's so much focus on like just gender and sexuality, and it's just, I genuinely think it's unnecessary. Like, kids clock that something's different, but do you need to go in, like, and have an explanation about how or what's been happened? Because then you're going to get kids being like, oh, you know, did that woman chop off her blah blah blah? It's just it's just too much, and I think it's just weird, and I feel like people are too scared to talk about stuff. But I feel like I can talk about it because, like, you know,
yeah,
I've dibbled and dabbled in both.
Right.
Do you know what I mean? But I feel like everyone's scared. Oh my god, I'm dead. But it's just that I feel like everyone's just pussyfooting, excuse my language, pussyfooting around stuff. Just speak. Like, everyone has an opinion, and everyone low key, high key thinks this shouldn't be taught, but everyone's just too scared to say it, and it just jars me.
Yeah. I hear you.
But yeah, I don't even know if I'm like on the point. Sorry.
No, you're making great points, man. But what I was going to ask you is, do you feel like at that age, kids can be molded into something that into something else, basically? I'm not too sure if you heard the question I posed to Rebecca.
Oh, in terms of molded, I just think they could be influenced and curious, because I think as a kid, if you're learning about, oh, like, you know, men can be women and women can be men, then I think that's when kids get curious and they might want to go toilet and start playing around or looking around like, oh, or, you know, you go home and you're thinking, well, I might be a girl that's a bit masculine, so does that mean I'm a man? So I wouldn't say the word molded, but I would say it would spark curiosity. And, you know, kids already ask why all the time. So I just feel like it just might be a lot on them, and their brains are not fully developed. So I feel like it's a burden that is not necessary. Like, learn stuff in year 7 and 8 where you've actually hit puberty, where you're actually genuinely curious. As kids, like, in primary school, what for? You can learn that, yeah, kids can be adopted and, you know, obviously there might be gay guys, whatever, but like there's so much, I don't know, it's just a bit weird, man. It's weird. It's weird.
Do you feel like isn't that the point of school though? Like where we have to ask these type of questions. You know what I'm saying? So
What do you mean?
as in like even though it's kind of like weird to a particular kid, for example, or all the kids in the class, like if they're being shown something that's new to them and they've got like 1,000 questions, isn't that the best place to have those questions asked or answered?
No, because we all know this. No, because the school system's already corrupted. Yeah, I don't want to go too deep into it. So teachers, which are just normal human beings, they already have their own opinions and their own genders. I feel like we're trusting the school system as if it's correct and as if it hasn't been corrupted. If this was like utopia, then yeah, it's school, share everything, teach everything. But it's not, because teachers have bias. Whether that be Catholic school, public school, there's just so many different factors. And I just think if we could all come together as a community and be like, okay, well, let's just discuss the curriculum and what is going to be discussed, and parents actually having a say, then yeah, I think that will be healthy. But the way the government is, like, everything is always a bit biased. Even when you're black in school, everything's a bit biased. Everything that you're looking at, everything is, we're in a system, and so we're just playing the game. So I feel like these things need to be discussed at home, or maybe someone like you should create a school, an outside school on the weekends where kids can actually go there and learn, you know, other stuff, or ask questions where it's actually, where people are actually, I don't know, educated, or I don't know, but you get what I'm saying, right?
Yeah, 100%. All right, cool.
Okay.
Thank you very much.
Thank you very much for the call.
Appreciate the call.
No problem, guys. Have a good day.
You
Bye.
too.
All right. Well, I think that's a good way to wrap up the topic of the day, man.
Are we done?
Yes, let's move on.
All right, perfect. Let's move on. Let's get into some more headlines.
All right, so trigger warning here, big trigger warning here. Basically, rape and human trafficking and all the above, basically. This is about Andrew Tate. And I'm pretty sure everyone's heard, but Andrew Tate has officially been charged in Romania with rape, human trafficking, and forming an organised crime group to sexually exploit women. His brother Tristan and 2 associates also face charges. All have denied the allegations. The Tate brothers, in case you're not aware, were first arrested at their Bucharest home in December. In March, they were moved from custody to house arrest following a ruling by a Romanian judge. The indictment deposited with the Bucharest court says that the 4 defendants formed an organised criminal group in 2021 to commit human trafficking in Romania, but also in other countries, including the US and the UK. It names 7 alleged victims who it says were recruited by the Tate brothers through false promises of love and marriage. The alleged victims were later taken to buildings in Ilfov County in Romania, where they were intimidated, placed under constant surveillance, and controlled and forced into debt. This according to a statement from Romanian prosecutors. The defendants allegedly then forced the women to take part in pornography, which was later shared on social media. One defendant is accused of raping a woman twice in March of 2022. The trial will not start immediately, and this is crazy, it's expected to take several years. Next headline takes us to Piers Morgan, man, where basically a judge in a privacy trial brought by Prince Harry and others have questioned why nearly 30 journalists, including Piers Morgan, have not given evidence. Mr. Justice Fancourt said that Mr. Morgan had recently had a good deal to say about phone hacking outside of the court. He's among a list of journalists about which the judge may have to make inferences, given that they have not appeared in the witness box. Mr. Morgan recently denied knowledge of unlawful activity in a BBC interview. And the last headline takes us to a situation with a TikToker. I'm not too sure if you guys heard about it, who stalked Chelsea star Mason Mount. And basically this influencer who bombarded Mason Mount with messages has been given a suspended prison term. Orla Melissa Sloan, who's 22, who called herself Devil Baby on Instagram, used 21 phone numbers to target Mount. She also stalked his ex-teammate Billy Gilmore and caused harassment to fellow Chelsea star Ben Chilwell. Mount, who's 24, became worried that she would turn up at the club's training ground in Cobham, Surrey. The court was also told that Sloan slept with Mount after they met at a party at Chilwell's home in November of 2020. The prosecutor, Jason Seatel, told an earlier hearing that the pair remained in contact for about 6 months before Mount decided that the relationship was not going to progress. And obviously, since then, she started stalking him, I guess. And that's it for the headlines.
All right. People's Journal next?
Yes.
All right, let's get into People's
Welcome to the People's Journal. I'll give you the news from an economics point of view. First thing I wanted to mention, I'm even trying to find it now, is basically, oh, sorry, pardon me, where is it? What? Sorry about this, guys. But yeah, the first thing I want to mention is about Jeremy Hunt and how basically, I'm going to be very quick today, rules out mortgage support and capping food prices. So obviously people have been talking about how homeowners may need extra support with their mortgages, obviously may face losing their homes potentially if it is a situation where the interest rates from the Bank of England continue to rise. Obviously people's mortgage things are going to be coming to an end after a few years, and obviously when trying to renew, they're going to be faced like with mortgages of extra like £500-600 in some cases, and people were asking the government about like would they step in and pretty much help, but the Chancellor basically ruled it out and said that anything that we do will pretty much be inflationary, and we don't like what's the point in prolonging inflation when we're trying to get everything down in it. And if we step in to kind of put a cap on food prices and help with mortgage bills, that's just going to exacerbate the situation. Also, this is breaking news as well, and basically there's been no decrease in inflation. Basically, it's remained at 8.7%, despite the expectations that there was going to be a fall. So the ONS, which is the Office for National Statistics, announced that the CPI, the Consumer Price Index, measure of inflation, stood at 8.7% in the year up to May, which is the same rate as it was in April. Slight decrease to 8.4% had been expected by a lot of economic analysts and things of that nature, but I guess it just didn't happen. And yeah, it puts the government's pledge to halve inflation this year in doubt. So I think we spoke at the beginning of the year that was one of Rishi Sunak's goals as well, and even that would have trickled down hopefully into the Bank of England reducing the interest rates as well. But obviously, if inflation remains high, chances are that the Bank of England interest rates may have to be put up again. So a lot of people are kind of thinking that may be a possibility. And the last thing I want to mention is what I've mentioned for a couple of weeks now, and this is the scheme called Black in Business, which is put forward by Channel 4 and Lloyds Bank. And this is basically an opportunity for black businesses to be awarded £100,000 worth of TV advertisement and an actual TV advert. So yeah, man, the applications are still open. The entries will close Wednesday, the 28th of June at 4 p.m. So if you're interested or know anyone's got a black business that can benefit from this scheme, tell them, you know. And that's it for the People's Journal.
All right, let's get into our last set of headlines.
Your water's not working.
All right, so the next headline, trigger warning here, and we spoke about this earlier in the week, but I believe there's a bit more of an update. Trigger warning here of people being killed in Uganda. So more than 20 people have been arrested in Uganda in connection with Friday's school massacre, and they've been accused of collaborating with a rebel group blamed for carrying out the killings. Among those held are the director and the head teacher. Can you imagine? Who have not commented. Hopefully this is just fake news and this is just wrong information or whatever, but I'd hate to think that a director and head teacher of the school were collaborating with these animals which caused the death of many of these students. Officials say there may have been a dispute over the ownership of the school where the 42 people died. The army say that the Islamic State-linked militants were behind the attack, but other motives are being investigated. They belong to the Allied Democratic Forces, the ADF, which is a group created in the 1990s, and they took up arms against the president, Yoweri Museveni, alleging the persecution of Muslims. It's now largely based in the neighboring Democratic Republic of Congo, and the arrests raise difficult questions about whether locals and those responsible for the children had a hand in what happened. But at the moment, there is very little clarity. For those unaware, like we mentioned earlier in the week, 37 pupils were amongst those who were killed when late on Friday, these attackers stormed the secondary school in the small town of Impondwe, which is close to the border with the Democratic Republic of Congo. The victims, many of them staying in dormitories, were burnt to death or hacked to death. Some of them were even reportedly shot. These animals need to be brought to justice, man. They should kill them on public TV, if you ask me. But anyway, that's my own personal something. Next headline, trigger warning here. And 4 Israelis were killed. Guess where, innit? So 4 Israelis have been killed in a shooting attack in their settlement in the occupied West Bank, according to paramedics. 4 others were wounded, one of them seriously, when 2 Palestinian gunmen opened fire at a restaurant and petrol station on the highway outside Eli. Israel's military said that the assailants were Hamas-affiliated terrorists. One was shot dead at a scene by an armed civilian, while the second fled in a stolen car and was later killed by Israeli forces in the town of Tubas. The Israeli Prime Minister Netanyahu said that all options are open in response to what he called a shocking and abhorrent terrorist attack, which followed heightened violence across the West Bank in recent days. But a spokesperson for Hamas said that the shooting was a response to the Israeli military raid in Jenin on Monday, which we also spoke about, in which 6 Palestinians were killed. And the last headline is just a little something, just to mention briefly, and there's a bit of a trigger warning here also, and this is that it appears that the number of migrants trying to reach Europe obviously has been growing, but that also means that the number of deaths in the Mediterranean is also growing. And this is basically because a fisherman from Tunisia basically found a dead body, or dead bodies, pardon me, in his fishing net. So it's crazy, man. Yeah. So that's pretty much the end of that particular headline, to be fair. So let's move on.
Oh, sorry, I thought you said that's the end of that headline.
That's what I heard.
Sorry.
All right, cool. Let's get into the rotation. Sorry. All right, guys, welcome to the reaction. All right, let's get into the juicy stuff, actually. Brent, did you see Saka's hat-trick? Bad boy hat-trick, innit? Yeah, he's turning into England's one of their most important players, man. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, hat-trick was the second goal.
Beautiful.
Second goal was a rocket.
Yeah.
You know he's making, the first goal, when he roofed it?
Yeah.
He's making that his signature,
Yes.
You know he's got
100%.
quite a few of those.
Yeah,
He's got like
yeah,
4 in his collection. But yeah, England beat, who did they beat? 7-0. Who was that? I know they beat
North Macedonia.
right here, innit?
South Macedonia.
This is...
So this is yesterday.
Oh, no, yesterday's one. Okay, cool. Yeah, North Macedonia, they beat them 7-0, man. That was a qualifier. But yeah, shout out Saka. Saka got a hat-trick. What do you feel about Trent going into midfield?
I like it.
You like it, right?
I like it. Yeah.
Yeah. But why did he take Fingy's number?
Who's?
He took Rashford's number.
Oh, is it?
Yeah. Trent's wearing number 10.
And that's Rashid's.
Man just yanked it off his back.
Maybe they're
That's
trying
mine.
to push Rashford up to the top.
Yeah, I think Rashford was wearing 11. He was wearing 11. But yeah, man, I'm happy for Saka, man. First career senior hat-trick for the boy. 3 very good goals. Yeah, man, he's
arrived.
He's arrived, man. 21 years old, Yeah. He's a star, man. He's definitely a star. Speaking of internationals as well, Ronaldo, first men's player to achieve 200 international caps, the most capped international player of all time. Shout out to Ronaldo. All right. I want to get into some transfer stuff, Brent, man. So you were right about the party thing.
They're looking to shift it.
Yeah. You're right.
Have you got your own thoughts on why they're doing that?
Yeah, of course.
Do you think it's literally that?
I think it's this. I think it is that, right? But as well as that, it's like, you know what? There's that, and let's throw in the might as wells. The might as wells is his age. The might as wells is his injury record and the amount of games he misses. Those are the might as wells. You've got these allegations. You've got this black cloud over you, negative PR, right? Because of that, you got to get rid of you. And also, you are injury prone. You do miss a lot of games. You are reaching a certain age. You're not exactly matching the age profile of the team. If Xhaka leaves, Partey will be the oldest player by far. Does Partey without his older brethren fit into this team of 22-year-olds, 21-year-olds? Maybe not. Can Saudi buy you and inject some cash into us and we can put that other places? Probably. So it feels like but if those allegations weren't there, he wouldn't be sold.
Okay.
I don't believe he'll be sold.
All right. So we knew that Xhaka was going, right? And even if Xhaka wasn't going, did we know that we needed to get a replacement or a backup for Partey?
Yes.
Because Jorginho is not a backup for Partey.
Yeah, he's not. He was a short-term solution.
All right. So us coming into the window, we knew full well we needed a backup.
Yeah.
So the fact that Xhaka's gone, we're getting in Rice, 100%.
Yeah,
we still need that backup, right?
Yeah, that's...
In addition to
Lavia.
Partey being there.
Lavia.
I hear that.
Yeah.
If Lavia comes in and Partey goes, there's still a need for a backup.
There's still a void there, yeah. Yes, there is still a void. That might not be addressed this season though, because I don't feel Jorginho's going anywhere.
I hear that, but given that we were looking to get in Caicedo, we did go for Jorginho afterwards, innit?
Yeah, remember? Yeah, so Jorginho was the second choice to Caicedo.
Yeah.
And I'm hearing, like, I thought El Neni was gone.
Yeah.
I thought the contract he was given was just so he can faithful servant, recover for this particular time. But after the contract's done, go.
Yeah.
I'm hearing he might be there.
Yeah.
God knows why.
Yeah.
Lokonga as well. I'm hearing he might be given a chance. I was hoping that El Neni, Lokonga were gone so that there's adequate space to fill the void. I don't want to go into the next season with with Rice, Lavia, and Jorginho as our options in that position. So I'm interested to see how it unfolds and to get Champions League football and then to sell your two most senior midfielders. It kind of stinks a little bit. But do you think selling Partey might mean Xhaka stays or no?
No.
Because I would have thought Xhaka's exit would have been done already, but it seems to be delayed. It might be because of Rice. We'll get into Rice in a second because Arsenal are a really irritating team.
Yeah.
But I feel like there might be a few twists and turns in who we thought was going to leave and who's actually going to stay. I don't know if Xhaka leaving is now 100% because of Partey's apparent, departure.
Yeah.
Right? Rice. Arsenal know what West Ham want. Like, we know they want 100 million. So why do you keep going in with these bids that are getting rejected and you're just delaying, you're wasting time?
Yeah.
Get it done. Right? Like, what's the point?
Yeah.
What's the point? Just get it done. Slap the money down. If this was Chelsea, United, Man City, they would have given City what they want. Sorry, not City. West Ham what they wanted and got the player. Now I'm hearing it's going to be delayed. Rice is going on holiday. Like, I heard a murmur that the reason why we put in the second bid was because we were told that 80 million plus add-ons would get it done.
Yeah.
Right? But it didn't get it done. It got rejected. If you end up buying him for 100 million, why didn't you just put that down in the first place? No?
Yeah. Obviously, I don't know what's happening behind the scenes, but I do believe that Arsenal wouldn't put in a derisory bid, especially when everybody's talking about this particular thing on the mainstream media. So I hear what you're saying. Just pay them whatever they want.
Yeah.
I'm not sure if it is that we should start with that particular precedent because we're not Chelsea. We're not United.
We're not Chelsea, but if we end up paying them what they wanted, don't get me wrong, if we get Rice in before pre-season, then 1 bid, 2 bid, 3 bid doesn't matter, right? As long as he's in adequate time. But why delay the process? Why? You know what it is? I just want Arsenal to be looked upon and be deemed as a big boy. I'm tired of us looking like meaty men in transfer windows, innit? Maybe that's what I'm having the issue with. I'm having the issue with the way we're perceived. It's always 1 bid, 2 bid, 3 bid. Like, you know what I'm trying to say? I want us to move like juggernauts in this thing and just get it done.
Question. Chelsea 2 weeks ago put in a bid of 60 million for Caicedo. That's what was reported.
Okay.
Right?
Yeah.
How come they weren't considered as
Because
needy.
that's not what they do. They have a history of getting it done. They have a history of going in and giving you what you want. So
But they put in a derogatory bid for Caicedo, but they weren't lambasted in the
yeah,
media.
because they have a history of getting it done time and time and time and time again.
So,
So
you're saying the reason why Arsenal's being lambasted is because
this is us. This
in
is
the
our
end
culture.
it may not happen.
Well, that, and I'm not gonna castrate Chelsea for putting in a low bid for Caicedo when they've shown me on multiple occasions that they pay what the club wants and they get the player quickly. Arsenal don't. This is our history. From Suarez to whoever. How many players have we missed out on because we didn't pay? We were too busy trying to negotiate for too long.
Honestly, my take is that I would rather pay 100 million for Caicedo than Rice.
Okay.
That's my hot take.
Okay.
So the fact that Arsenal are looking to be bent over a barrel for Rice,
Yeah.
and I don't think it would just be 100 million.
Yeah.
I believe that they're looking to extract as much money as possible from this particular thing. And I do believe that they've moved the goalposts from when it began. Hence the second bid.
Yeah.
Too many people are talking about this for Arsenal to still be doing stupidness. So I don't know what's happening behind the scenes, but that's my assumption.
No.
I would rather pay the big money for Caicedo than Rice.
I believe Arsenal are confident. I believe Arsenal have been given reassurances from Rice and his team that we want to come to you, just get it done, kind of thing, innit? I prefer Rice to Caicedo because he's taller, he's a bigger guy, bigger physical presence in midfield. I think I have PTSD with short midfielders from Arsenal. Torreira came in, similar height to Caicedo, similar build, and he was quickly just gone. I feel like we lack height.
How tall is Caicedo? I didn't know he was Torreira's height.
It appears that maybe maybe I've misjudged him.
Let me see how tall is.
And also, Arsenal's team as a whole is very small, and I'm welcoming of a big presence like Rice, especially in midfield. How tall is he?
1 meter 78.
Check Torreira's one. Maybe I was bugging. And then we had a bid for Kai Havertz rejected as well. So I think we're going in again with the second bid as well. But Arsenal are busy right now. How tall is he?
166.
Oh, okay, cool. He's not. Okay, cool. I done Caicedo a bit dirty then. But Arsenal are busy though. Arsenal are in for Lavia from Southampton. We're in for, I can't remember his name.
Lavia?
What's that?
What do you think about Lavia?
I'll be honest with you. I don't watch Southampton much, so I haven't seen much of him.
Seen the clips on YouTube there?
I haven't even checked.
Serious?
Right now, I'm just going off of pure internet talk or what people deem him to be a good player. I've seen him a glimpses of him, but my knowledge of him isn't great in it.
He's on loan from Man City.
Yeah, no, that also plays a part. The fact that he's from Man City shows that he's a certain caliber of player, right? But I'll definitely do my due diligence on him. The right back from Ajax, I can't remember his name. I've checked him out.
Yuri, something on the other.
Is it Yuri?
Maybe it's not Yuri.
I've checked him out.
I like him.
He looks good. Apparently, Arteta wants 2 inverted fullbacks. So I'm guessing the Cancelo links have died now because of our interest in him. What's his name?
Let me hold up.
But Arsenal are busy, man. I think Arsenal are one of the busiest teams. And Chelsea too, but Chelsea more so on departures.
So would you be right with Partey being sold to Saudi Arabia?
Um,
Provided that we get an ample replacement.
It is. It's part with Partey is difficult, man. You know why? Because if Partey is guilty of the allegations, then you know what I mean. Arsenal don't like. It's only right, innit? But if he isn't, then why is he being sold? It's a tough one. But speaking of Saudi, do you believe in the conspiracy or the theory that Chelsea and the Saudis have some type of?
Well, apparently,
is that him?
Yeah, this is the guy.
That's not him.
No,
Oh,
it isn't, is it?
no, that's not him. Hold on, let me try and find him in Fabrizio's page.
Yeah, apparently, Todd Bowley's company, the majority stakeholder is Newcastle's.
Oh, is
No.
that the connection?
Or is it Chelsea? I don't know. It's Newcastle's owner.
Okay. One of my little hobbies of this transfer window, I'm very interested in Chelsea's ins and outs.
Yeah.
I've just taken an interest in it. I've even started taking note of it, right? So right now you got Kante, who's gone to Saudi. You got Ziyech, just agreed a deal to Saudi.
Yeah.
Mendy and Koulibaly just agreed deals to Saudi as well. Then Kovacic, potentially going Man City. Aubameyang is also being negotiated in terms of going to Saudi.
Yuri and Timber.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Then Mount, United, Arsenal with Havertz in it. So Chelsea are busy with outgoings. Do you think this whole Saudi thing is, in terms of the power that they have financially, and the fact that they're attracting, like for example, Ziyech is not, certain leagues to me is like the graveyard league, innit? You go there when your career's done, but apparently Bernardo Silva, he's 28, he's apparently debating and mulling over an offer from Saudi. Ziyech is still, I guess, in his prime. He's gone over there, right? Do you feel like there's something in this? Do you feel like it's Saudi, the Saudi league? What's your thoughts on it?
I think that the Saudis, the Qataris, all them man there, they're in it for the long haul, right?
Yeah.
And I do believe that they're trying to change the perception of that part of the world as it pertains to football.
Yeah.
And if any group of nations could do it, I believe they could do it.
Yeah.
I was talking to Marks the other day. I can possibly see if Benzema's going over there, and Benzema's a lifestyle guy, innit?
Yeah.
If it is that's what we're seeing on social media, you're going to have more and more kids looking to follow the players as opposed to teams. That's what they do nowadays anyway. Wherever Ronaldo goes, I'm going there.
Yeah.
So there's going to be more clips and coverage spread. And I was also telling him that if they have the Super League, whatever they do, and the Saudis manage to basically cut into there, I believe 100%, 5-10 years, maybe 10-15 years, more and more focus is going to be on what they're doing over there. Especially if it is the lavishness, and every one of the stadiums is state of the art.
Yeah.
Everything is crispy. I think that they can start.
It could be, but you know what it is? When you've just got a few Asian superstars sprinkled amongst how many teams are there, it still gives an element of this is just a league you go to retire, to get the bag at the end of your career.
But they have to start somewhere. So bringing in the biggest names would encourage the younger people to say, let me take a stint over there because I don't want to go in League One.
Yeah.
And I'm going to be playing with these big stars.
Yeah.
I believe that, I think they've thought out this particular strategy. And the fact is that they've had some footholds in the Premier League by buying clubs.
Yeah.
And when you deep it, like Newcastle's looking to do it properly, right?
Yeah.
Man City has done what Man City has done. If it is at the bus case, then cool. They're going to cut through.
Yeah.
But you will have more and more interested parties like coming in and putting the capital in and I guess changing the narrative of the Arab nation or Arab nations. And I do believe over a long period of time, if it is they're consistent, and I think they will be, because money's not drying up over there.
It's not drying up, but someone even made a good point. The vast majority of the players who've gone over there in the last couple of weeks are all Muslim players. And they even asked Benzema, he goes, there's an appeal on a Muslim, so I want to go and play in a Muslim country, right? In terms of like the Premier competitions, Champions League, etc., the Saudi clubs are never going to be a part of that. So even though they might build up their league over here, where's the integration going to come? Because they're not going to be in the Champions League, they're not going to be in the Europa League. So where does the union of the European teams in that team lie?
The other league, the Super whatever.
Yeah, Super League.
I do believe that's coming again.
Yeah.
I don't think that it will be foolish to think that isn't going to push through. That's going to push through.
Yeah.
And once that's pushed through, that money is going to speak. People in that particular side of the world are going to say, well, if I have all these wavy players over here, we can be competing.
Yeah.
Let's make this make sense, because this is a global sport. Involve us. And I do believe, they'll be able to have a couple of teams from over there join the fray.
No, I can see it. It would have to be a Super League. It would have to be a breakaway. It would have to be a new league to integrate them, because how else would they get involved? I can see it. I don't know, the Super League thing for me, I would like to see it, just because it's new, it's different, it's exciting. As long as it doesn't, if it's like an extension, if it's like a Champions League where you stay remaining on domestic leagues and take part, then fair enough. But I wouldn't want the 6 best teams in the Prem to leave the Prem to join this league. I'd rather them remain in the Prem and then still.
And that's the thing. I don't think
but it's too much competition.
The Premier League, not the FA. I don't know who it is.
Yeah.
The Premier League. They.
I'm not having it.
After a while, come on, it's the money that will speak.
Yeah.
It's money that will speak.
Yeah.
And they will package it in such a way where we would forget about how mad it is.
Yeah.
and then we would just take it. As we said, talking about social engineering, 100%.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, I hear that.
And at the end of the day, the new football fans coming up are completely different than the ones that are going out.
Yeah. Yeah, you're right. What's your thoughts on Balogun's situation? Obviously, the US won. What's that competition they won the other day? Something. They.
I want Balogun to replace Nketiah.
Balogun scored the second goal, the winner.
Or
He's
Nketiah sold.
yeah, he's quickly becoming a star.
I don't know if he's. I need to see him playing.
This is the beginning of it. What I mean is, he's now him joining the team was a big deal.
Yes.
Right. The next World Cup is in the US.
Yeah,
he's
yeah.
now going to become the poster boy for US football.
Yeah.
His stock has risen.
Yeah. He's on that
quickly.
trajectory. Yeah.
His name has risen quickly, innit? He's now becoming like Balogun's name wasn't in the press before. Now it's in the press every single
And he's
day,
younger
right?
than Nketiah.
And what?
And he's younger than Nketiah.
Yeah, and he's very steadfast in what he wants to do. He said the other day after the
Wants
the
to come
win,
back and
he said I'm not going alone again.
Yeah.
So it's either, and he's not signing a contract. So it's either you sell me or you make me your first choice. I personally believe that
First choice.
Yeah, I love his confidence and I love his assertion, right? But it is annoying. It's annoying because there is a pecking order, right? You can't demand to be first choice and say like, what makes you're not better than Gabriel Jesus? Yeah, I believe
He
that.
might score more goals than Gabriel
I believe
Jesus.
He could do. He could do.
Probably
He
would.
could do. But I'm not saying he doesn't want to compete for his place, whatever. But if the rumors are true and he's demanding, no, I want to be first choice or I'm leaving, that rubs me the wrong
I'll
way.
get rid of Nketiah.
I heard a rumor that I love the rumors. I heard the rumor that Arsenal are open to listen to offers for Nketiah.
Yeah. I would replace him with Balogun. I believe that he's earned that particular chance.
I would sell Nketiah too. I'll sell Nketiah. I want to see Balogun play for Arsenal in the Premier League. I don't want him to leave. Nketiah, I've seen enough from Nketiah to where I'm satisfied with what I've seen, and I don't feel like he's the man for the job. I want Balogun to stay, and it'll be annoying. It'll be very irritating if he leaves. But we'll have to see how it unfolds. But he's definitely, his name is definitely his stock is rising.
Hello, good morning.
Hello.
Good morning, guys. It's Chris. Basically, I want to talk about the Saudi.
Go
I
on.
basically want to talk about the Saudi thing.
Yeah.
No, with the Saudi thing, like bare people are talking about how like they're ruining football, this and that. But with the Premier, they've been doing it for years. With the Premier, they're like from like top Spanish clubs, like they'll go to like a British team like because of money. It's pretty much the thing with Saudi, but like their league really developed yet. But it's pretty much the same thing that the
So the lines.
Yeah, the line's
breaking
a
up.
bit dodgy, so
Yeah.
you're breaking up.
You're breaking up in and out.
I said, can you hear me now? Is that better?
Yes.
A bit better, yeah.
Yeah, like with the Saudi thing, people are complaining about how like they're ruining this and that. But like with the Premier, they've been doing it for a while. Like big clubs here, they'll like in like Europe, they'll go to like a shit club in like England as like have money and stuff like that. So like with the Saudi thing, like with the Prem clubs, they've been proper hypocrite on like the Saudi thing.
So you think that it's basically the same, but just more capital involved? There's more money involved.
Yeah,
We've been doing it forever.
and it's more developed to it.
Okay.
And like they're artificially, but it's pretty much the same. It's going from like a bigger club to like a shitter club. It's pretty much the same, and the Prem's been doing it for time.
All right, so I need to understand the parallel because with the Saudi approach, they're actually paying these players, these big name players, big money. How have we been doing that in the Premier League?
A player that plays for like a Italian club or like Spanish club, yeah, they'll go to like a middle team in like England for like big money. It's the same.
So a player that would play in a Spanish club will go to a British team for big money.
Are you trying to say that the Premiership, we've been buying players for crazy amounts of money for years? Is that basically what you're saying?
Pretty much.
And
Much. And like big clubs, yeah, in like Spain or something, like they'll sell pretty much left in the league for like a bigger money. It's pretty much the same thing.
To be fair, I don't feel like what's happening in Saudi is ruining football. To be fair, to me, it's about because the league is not competitive, and because it's obvious. For example, if you come to the Premier League for big money, you've come for money and you've come to compete. If you go to Saudi, especially like for example, what's his name for Wolves? He signed for Saudi the other day. Neves.
Yeah.
Ruben Neves. He's 26.
Yeah.
Right? So he's obviously gone for money.
Yeah.
That's the problem.
Yeah.
Because the Saudi league is not competitive. You can do a young, okay, cool, let me go get my money up for 2 years and come back, right? But I feel like when you come to the Prem or you go La Liga or whatever for big money, you're going there to compete to win trophies. And you're being paid big P's. But when you go Saudi league, it's obviously for the money because that league is not competitive. It's not even within the big competitions. And I feel that's people's issue. Because Never's got a lot of slack. Like that type of thing is ruining football. No one cares if Benzema at 35 or Kante at 32 or Ronaldo at whatever age goes to play in Saudi because at the end of their career, they've earned it. But when you're in your prime, if you're 26 years old in your prime and you go Saudi, then it's like, oh, you're just chasing the bag. And that's people's issue. That they don't want players to do things for the money. They want players to do things for the love of the game, to compete to win trophies. When it is a business at the end of the day and people got to make money, right? I don't agree with it. For example, if I'm in the prime of my career, I'm not going to Saudi. If I'm wavy enough, I'll wait and go Saudi when I'm, in my early 30s or whatever. And I think that's people's issue, is that the Saudi league is not competitive and you're going for the money and that's ruining the game. Right? Because coming to the Prem for big money is not deemed as ruining the game because the Prem is the best league in the world.
Yeah.
No?
Yeah, I don't know if it's ruining the game just yet because the players that are going, as you said, they're either at the end of their careers or they're playing for insignificant teams.
Yeah.
I know Bernard Silva is currently thinking about
going
over there.
Yeah.
So that's a bit different. But I guess every player has a window of opportunity within their life and time. So I can't even look to
same.
really
Listen,
because one injury you could be finished.
yeah, you're done. Listen, football is a business at the end of the day, innit? And you got to make money. I remember the footballer's career is very short. You retire mostly before the age of 35, 40, right? That person's still young. They've still got a whole life to live. So you're telling me I can make 3 times the amount of money playing in Saudi when I might just go for that, you know? That sounds
100%.
Sounds nice.
Yeah.
I can set myself up for life by playing in Saudi.
Yeah.
Why not? Especially when you're. I'm not saying Neves could have got a better move, but it's not like Neves was playing for City.
This is it.
He was playing for Wolves.
Yeah.
What trophies is he winning?
Yeah.
So you might as well take the money, no?
I agree.
Oh, with like the Chinese thing, like 10 years ago, Oscar went.
Yeah, Oscar. And the thing is, Oscar's proof. Oscar ruined his career.
Like that.
Like,
Say that again?
No, go on.
Yeah, you know Oscar, he went China, I think it was like 8-10 years ago, yeah. Like people was talking about like Chinese ruining football.
Yeah, but the thing is,
Like better play China.
So your line's
I reckon if you called via Wi-Fi, and this is for next time, this is not for today, it will be a clearer or cleaner connection because you just calling normally, it's really, really patchy. So that's for next time.
All right, cool, man. No worries, man.
Thank you very much for calling in.
Appreciate it. But yeah, no, the Oscar thing never ruined football because no one even followed suit because the Chinese league has less appeal than the Saudi league, right? But Oscar, as a brand, as a name, he literally chose the money because after that, you never heard Oscar's name again. He wasn't even playing for Brazil, right? So he chose the money. That's a prime example of someone chose the money and their career actually fell off the fucking face of the earth. Excuse my language. So, but I can't knock him because he's rich and he's living his life and that's the choice he made. I can't begrudge it.
I'm interested to see what happens, what develops within that whole Arab nation, sport industry, that type of thing. I'm interested because they have the P to basically deploy their strategy for years. Yeah, so I'm really interested, and a lot more people are going to the Arab nations for holiday now. Yeah, and that's becoming a key holiday destination.
Yeah, it's close to Dubai, Abu Dhabi. Lavish living, especially if you're Muslim as well. There's a lot of appeal there. I can see the appeal. Man. But yeah. All right. Thanks for that. Let's get into the outro.
Sorry if I sounded annoyed on the phone. I wasn't trying to be. It was just hard to basically understand what you were saying. All right.
All right, nice show today, guys. Nice discussion. Great involvement from the community. We appreciate your calls as always. Make sure you call in and give us your thoughts on whatever topics we're discussing. It's highly appreciated. Brent, E-Man, great job today, guys. Make sure you've liked the video. Please like on entry. It doesn't cost you anything. Just click the button. It helps us grow. We appreciate it. Also share, spread the word, and let people know about TDA that we're here every day, Monday to Friday. And yeah, man, it's been a great show today, guys, man. And we'll be back tomorrow.
Later.
Peace.
Peace.